Welcome to one of the largest scale land restoration projects on the planet.
Africa is making history. 8,000 kilometers, 11 countries, and an ambitious goal to plant 100 billion trees across the Sahel. It's the largest environmental mobilization the world has ever seen, aiming to combat desertification, restore ecosystems, and secure livelihoods for millions. Dubbed the Great Green Wall, this project is a bold response to climate change, rooted in local action and regional unity. This story was first originally reported by Global El Diario 24 News.
Did you know Africa is building a wall of trees to stop the Sahara's expansion? The Great Green Wall is a project aimed at combating desertification in the Sahel region by planting millions of trees from Djibouti to Senegal.
So, how does this green revolution impact Africa and the planet? Let's explore the scale, the stakes, and the vision behind it. The Great Green Wall, a continental lifeline, stretching across 8,000 kilometers from Senegal in the west to Djibouti in the east. Africa's Great Green Wall is more than just a reforestation project. It's a survival strategy. Designed to combat desertification, the wall cuts across 11 countries and aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land. The mission is ambitious, but the need is urgent. More than 45% of Africa's land is affected by desertification, and 65% of its population depends on that land for livelihoods. The plan? Restore 100 million hectares of land by 2030, with up to 100 billion trees projected through direct planting and natural regeneration. So far, over 18 million hectares have been restored, with Ethiopia, Niger, and Senegal leading the charge. In Ethiopia alone, under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's government, over 4 billion trees were planted in just one rainy season. But this isn't just about trees, it's about food security, water retention, reducing migration, and creating jobs. Over 350,000 green jobs are expected. Climate change has forced Africa to take matters into its own hands, and this wall is becoming the largest living structure on Earth. Burkina Faso, under the transitional leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, has integrated native flora and youth labor to anchor restoration zones in the Sahel. The initiative, backed by the African Union and supported by the UNCCD, is transforming barren regions into productive, life-giving ecosystems. Every sapling counts. Every hectare restored means fewer dust storms, better farming yields, and real hope for the next generation. 11 nations, one goal, unity across borders. This isn't just a national effort, it's a continental movement. 11 countries across Africa have aligned their ecological goals to build the Great Green Wall. Senegal, Mauritania, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Sudan, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Djibouti. These nations, diverse in culture, language, and leadership, are coming together with one common vision: to halt the advance of the Sahara Desert and reclaim their future. Think about that. In a region often portrayed through the lens of conflict or fragility, we're witnessing an environmental alliance of unprecedented scale.
By working towards planting 15 billion trees by 2032, we are not only preserving our ecosystems, but also demonstrating our dedication to the well-being of our planet.
In Senegal, over 12 million drought-resistant trees have already been planted, with local farmers trained in agroforestry to sustain them. Nigeria's efforts are spearheaded by the National Agency for the Great Green Wall, which has already restored thousands of hectares using indigenous species. Meanwhile, Niger's farmer-managed natural regeneration approach, promoted under former President Issoufou Mahamadou, has helped regrow over 200 million trees without planting a single new one, just pruning and protecting existing roots. It's genius and practical. Kenya, although not a formal member, is also aligning with this movement. President William Ruto has committed to planting 15 billion trees by 2032, making Kenya a continental ally. What we're seeing here is a shift in mindset, from political borders to ecological cooperation. Communities along the Sahel are sharing best practices, pooling knowledge, and developing regional water retention strategies. It's not just planting trees, it's planting resilience, trust, and regional solidarity. Jobs, food and water, the wall's everyday impact. Let's break this down into what it means for real people. For families in rural Chad or northern Mali, the Great Green Wall isn't some abstract climate solution, it's a path to stability. Soil restoration means better crops, which means more food and higher incomes. In regions that were once dust bowls, millet and sorghum are now growing again. In parts of Niger, land once considered useless is producing harvests worth over $280 per hectare. That's the power of regenerated ecosystems. Employment is also on the rise. The initiative aims to create at least 350,000 rural jobs, especially for young people who previously saw migration or militia work as their only options. In Nigeria, local youth are being trained in climate-smart agriculture, nursery management, and forest protection. Water availability, one of the scarcest resources in the Sahel, is also improving. Tree roots help capture and store water underground, raising water tables. In Burkina Faso, under Captain Traoré's restoration push, farmers have reintroduced ancient Zai pit techniques, small planting holes that collect rainwater and revive arid land. It's smart, local, and effective. This isn't charity, it's infrastructure. It's as vital as roads or schools. Every tree means a job for a nursery worker, a task for a digger, a business for a honey harvester. More than 20 million people across the Sahel are expected to benefit directly from restored land. When we talk about the world's largest mobilization, this is what we mean. Not just kilometers and trees, but transformed lives, real food security, and economic dignity rooted in green. Climate Frontlines, Africa's bold response. Africa contributes less than 4% of global greenhouse gas emissions, yet it faces the worst of the climate crisis. Droughts, floods, desertification, it's a perfect storm. But instead of waiting on the global north to act, African nations are building their own firewall. The Great Green Wall is absorbing carbon dioxide, reducing heat stress, and even influencing local microclimates. According to the UN, restored areas in the Sahel are capturing up to 30 tons of carbon per hectare in the best performing zones. Multiply that by millions of hectares, and you have one of the world's most ambitious carbon sinks. But that's not all. The wall is becoming a climate lab. In Sudan, satellite monitoring is tracking vegetation density. In Mali, solar-powered drip irrigation is being used to sustain young saplings during long dry spells. Tech meets tradition. And here's the kicker. Africa is doing all this with a funding gap. As of 2024, only about $2.5 billion of the estimated $33 billion needed has been mobilized. Still, the wall moves forward. During the One Planet Summit, African leaders, including President Mohamed Bazoum of Niger and Kenya's Ruto, challenged global financiers to match Africa's commitment with real money, not just pledges. That's the narrative shift. Africa is no longer just asking for aid, it's demanding equity. The continent is acting not as a victim, but as a global player on the front lines of climate response. The wall is a message. We're not just adapting, we're innovating. And the rest of the world, it needs to keep up. Local heroes and community-driven success. At the heart of the Great Green Wall are the farmers, herders, and women's cooperatives who bring it to life. In Senegal's Louga region, women-led nurseries are cultivating drought-resistant acacias that provide both shade and income through gum arabic. These aren't side stories, they're the engine. In Ethiopia's Tigray region, communities devastated by war are finding healing through reforestation, working side by side in collective farms. This is people-powered transformation. Take Niger's Maradi region. Local farmers are credited with regenerating over 5 million hectares simply by protecting naturally sprouting trees during tilling.
The planting process itself is often a community effort. Local people who have a deep understanding of the land are trained in sustainable land management practices. They play a crucial role in planting, watering, and protecting the young trees, ensuring their survival in the harsh conditions.
No heavy tech, just patience and care. It's a silent revolution. In Mali, under interim authorities, youth brigades have formed mobile restoration squads, reclaiming abandoned land with organic compost, fencing, and community-managed watering cycles. These actions aren't glamorous, but they are the backbone of Africa's resilience. Even religious and tribal leaders are stepping in, preaching tree stewardship during weekly sermons and seasonal rituals. The wall is as much social as it is environmental. In Chad, traditional chiefs have partnered with restoration teams to ensure that village land use maps protect sacred groves and buffer zones. Education programs are now weaving reforestation into school curriculums. That means kids are growing up planting trees alongside learning to read and write. When people are empowered, when their knowledge is honored, the results are scalable and permanent. This is how 100 billion trees become possible. Not by top-down mandates, but by bottom-up movements rooted in culture, ownership, and pride. This is Africa leading itself and leading by example.
Instead of just planting trees, they are now growing local species, using regenerative farming, letting old trees regrow from roots, making soil stronger, creating jobs for youth and women. How much has been done? The goal was to restore 100 million hectares of land by 2030. So far, only around 18% has been done.
The road ahead, scaling, funding, and global stakes. So where do we go from here? The Great Green Wall is only 20% complete as of 2024. The dream of 100 million hectares restored and 100 billion trees planted is still distant, but within reach. With the right investment, coordination, and political will, it can be achieved by 2030. The African Union's Accelerator Roadmap is already speeding up efforts, linking restoration with food corridors, trade routes, and infrastructure. The World Bank, African Development Bank, and Global Environment Facility have pledged billions, but disbursement has been slow. Meanwhile, countries like Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, and Senegal aren't waiting. Captain Traoré has reportedly green-lighted drone seeding pilots. President Ruto of Kenya has linked tree planting to national ID registration. A citizen plants, a nation grows. That's innovation. But let's be real, global support is not just a moral issue, it's self-interest. The Sahel is a climate tipping point. If desertification isn't stopped, it will trigger more food insecurity, migration, and geopolitical instability. Europe, Asia, and the Americas should be investing in the wall not as charity, but as insurance. Africa is doing the hard part, planting, protecting, and persevering. What it needs now is scale. If we meet this moment, the Great Green Wall could become the world's most successful climate project. Not someday, not in theory, but right now, in real time. So, the world has a choice: invest in resilience or pay the cost of neglect. Africa has chosen. What about the rest? From Senegal to Djibouti, Africa's Great Green Wall is more than a climate initiative. It's a statement of resilience, cooperation, and long-term vision. With 100 billion trees planned, the goal isn't just to reclaim land. It's to transform lives, create jobs, and anchor sustainable development. But challenges remain: funding, coordination, and political will. Still, the momentum is real. Special thanks to Global El Diario 24 News for covering this groundbreaking story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the conversation. Can this be the model for global climate action, or will it remain just a dream on the horizon?